Hi, this is Elaine Cercado from POWERinU Training and Coaching LLP. I'll be presenting this webinar, The Importance of Human Resources and Business Partnership in Achieving Goals and Sustaining Success. This was originally presented during the PASIA HR Summit, where I was a plenary speaker last February 2020 in the Philippines. What will happen to me? What about my 20-year tenure with the company? That was a question I got from one of my team members in 2007 when our multinational company was sold to a global equity firm, which then built a new multinational corporation to absorb all the employees and assets. It was the same question I asked our head of HR, who supported me as the ASEAN general manager at that time. It was probably the most important and challenging question we faced during our one-year transition into the new company. And how we responded became a critical success factor to having the resources and capabilities to rapidly build our newly formed business and organization. During that time, many mature companies and businesses went through mergers, acquisitions, or divestitures due to the changing industry, technological, and business landscapes. Hence, the challenge of keeping resources, of cutting costs, of building culture, transforming the new business, and sustaining it. Fast forward to 2017. The question has then become, what will make you stay in our company? This was a question I asked our key talents. In 2015 to 2017, I was the regional learning, enablement, and OD in a global IT company as I embarked and shifted to a new career after 20 years in sales, business, and general management. And this time around, the key business challenge was sustaining the business competitiveness with highly capable people. Many progressive companies and businesses experience talent retention and development, a key challenge with a changing face of our workforce, one that is multi-generational and was still adapting to each other at that time. If in 2007, employees were fiercely loyal and wanted to stay with their companies for as long as possible, in 2017, the employee mindset has changed. They were empowered and did not hesitate to leave their organizations, like take a sabbatical to travel the world or pursue a passion or to move to a more exciting job. In fact, according to a 2018 industry report, finding, hiring, and retaining talent remain the top challenges for supply chain organizations, a trend that is unlikely to go away. This 2020 and beyond, the trend is going into employee first culture, which is driving the rise of EX, employee experience. Indeed, the business and HR landscapes will continue to change at an even faster or accelerated pace due to the faster pace in technological advancements and innovations, which has created what looks like a world in permanent VUCA state. Indeed, the changes and challenges on both sides, the business and the HR, are increasingly getting more complex in nature and faster in pace. The only way forward is to form a strong partnership between HR and the business to work together toward achieving goals and sustaining success. I hope by now you are convinced that it is important for the business and HR to partner and work together. The next big question is how. How can we work together in partnership to achieve the goal and sustain success? Let's look at this case study. To give more context to this, let me share our company background. We supply the healthcare industry with diagnostic imaging products and solutions. Singapore was a regional headquarters and logistics hub for Asia Pacific region. Our products were sourced from various countries, mainly from our factories in USA and China. I was then the general manager for ASEAN businesses with subsidiaries and employees based in Malaysia and Singapore, Thailand, and Philippines. And we had distributor partners based in Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. At that time, we had dominant market share, a strong brand and customer base. We had complex global IT legacy systems for S&OP or order to cash. Majority of our employees have been with the company for a long time. I calculated that our average tenure was then 15 years. Our company practiced a family-based culture and focused on core values like respect and teamwork, which our employees loved. So what happened? What looked like a very good situation changed. The business unit was significantly impacted by technological transformation, to which the mother company was not fast enough to respond to. This led to poor financial performance of the mother company and the eventual divestiture of the business unit at the global level. From there, the equity company that bought us formed a new multinational corporation which transitioned for 1 year in ASEAN, and I became employee number one. My mandate was very clear. I had to achieve 100% cut over to four multinationals, 100% employee sign up and onboarding, all critical day one areas operational, which included supply chain, customer services, sales and support functions. And post day one, we had to focus on managing the changes, especially among the employees, and building and sustaining the new company culture. The big question is, did we achieve our goals? And the answer is yes. The most important question for this session is, how did we do it? How did we achieve it? What role did HR play? So how did we do it? Allow me to share how the partnership with our ASEAN HR helped me achieve our key business goals. And for this purpose, I will use my current hat as a strategic consultant, leadership trainer, and executive coach. We achieved our goals and sustained success through the effective application of management and leadership competencies, specifically of change management, stakeholder management, emotional intelligence, and social-cultural intelligence. Well, employee intelligence can very well be all of this, emotional, social-cultural. Let me elaborate a bit by sharing our experiences that made it work for us. Key success factor number one, change management with focus on emotional and sociocultural intelligence. A top learning for us was that one size did not fit all. In terms of business and HR strategy implementation, what did that mean? It was critical to manage the varied range of emotions during the phases of change, from the planning to the implementation to post day one to achieve 100% success. As we know, positivity is highly contagious. So is negativity. For example, our employee contracts, drafted by country-based lawyers, were received differently by each country team. In Singapore, the kiasu, which is the fear of losing or fear of missing out, mentality was very much alive. Hence, every fine print had to be patiently explained and understood. Some waited up to the day before the deadline before they signed off. In Malaysia, we had a labor union, hence had to deal with and understand the leader of the union. Once there was a meeting of the minds with the labor union leader, the positive response started to come one after the other. In Thailand, as you probably know, hierarchy is typically rigid and the boss is a sole decision maker. Hence, once the Thailand leader signed off, everyone in the office signed off. And in the Philippines, Of course, the core values, which are mostly based on maintaining social harmony and family togetherness, prevailed, and they were the first country to sign off as one whole team. In today's workplace, where we have constant and rapid changes, multi-generational workforce, and highly diverse team members, this is more important than ever to consider and act upon effectively. Key success factor number two, stakeholder management with emotional and sociocultural intelligence. The importance of stakeholder management and smart communication among committee, internal stakeholders, external customers couldn't be underestimated. We communicated all through the phases of the change process, even before the actual planning and preparation, all the way to the post execution of change. So, the four phases of change. The close collaboration between HR and myself and the attendance together in all employee meetings were critical to success. Together, we were able to create and deliver a message with social and cultural intelligence. So, if I were to sum up key success factor number two, communicate, 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 and communicate. What did we communicate, you might ask? Following the principles of change, we communicated the compelling reason to change, the clear vision and goals for change, the context for change. We communicated all this regularly and consistently with emotional and sociocultural intelligence to achieve momentum, engagement, alignment, and embedment, which sustained success. You might ask, how relevant are these management and leadership competencies with the challenges of business and HR today? Surely, the problems today are different from 2007 or from 2017 and will be different this 2020 and beyond. Look at this headline in Singapore as early as February 2020. The supply and economic outlook was not very good due to COVID-19 outbreak. Today, all countries in the world expects the same impact from COVID-19. As we've said, business and HR will continue to change at an accelerated pace. Hence, there is a need for business and HR to continuously become better in partnering, managing, and leading together. With partnership, the business and HR will overcome whatever challenges might come, will achieve our collective goals, and will sustain our success. So thank you very much, everyone, for staying with me in this webinar presentation about the HR and business partnership to achieve goals and sustain success. Do connect with me in LinkedIn or through my email if you wish to continue the conversation.
So what did we do? Firstly, let me ask this question. What do you think happened? Were we able to achieve our goal? Can you make a guess? Yes? A big yes. And that's why I want to tell my success story here. I want to tell how we did it. How did we do it? I think that's the bigger question. Because there are lessons that we can learn from this experience. Because as we said, change will continue to happen and at an accelerated pace. So how did we do it? Let me now put my hat as a management consultant, leadership trainer, and coach. Because from the eyes of a consultant, now I can apply all the things that we teach in management and leadership. And you know, when I was preparing for this, I said, oh, okay, these were actually the things that we did effectively and powerfully. So, practical applications of theories that we learned from management and leadership. How did we do it? we powerfully and effectively applied management and leadership, and particularly change management and stakeholder management, particularly emotional intelligence and social-cultural intelligence. Let me elaborate a bit more. What do I mean here by applying management and leadership competencies at a very practical, day-to-day level? So during the transition phase, we had a diverse team, right? In ASEAN, we had the Philippines team, we had a Thailand team, we had Singapore team, and Malaysia team. I was responsible for them. We had many operational issues and day-to-day issues that we had to manage. So it was a whole change management process. Very, very difficult transition. But what was most critical among all this was, in alignment with the human intelligence, as we said, managing the emotions. Managing the emotions of the people all throughout the phase, the different phases. From the time that we announced the change to the time that we planned and prepared among us, the ASEAN transition team, to the time that we executed every task, every milestone, to the time that we cut over, and after the cut over, post day one, we had to deal with the emotions of every employee in every country. It wasn't easy. That was the hardest part of all. Because how person A responded to the change was very different to how person B responded, and different from how person C responded. Though we had a universal strategy, what we learned was that one size did not fit all. It was very, very good and helpful that my ASEAN HR manager, who was seated in Malaysia, would travel, come to me, or we would meet somewhere, and we together, with my ASEAN HR manager, we would sit in all employee meetings together. So the two of us would always meet, a stakeholder, an employee, to discuss, to address whatever concerns that they had during the whole process of change. And she was very, very flexible, very adaptable, and partnered and worked with me. We worked together closely to achieve our common goal. And we did that because we knew we had to address right away any negative concerns. As we know, positivity is highly contagious, but so is negativity. And once we have negativity in the organization, it can spread very fast. And that could break our transition phase. That could make it unsuccessful. And so we had to make sure we partnered, we worked together, managed change, applied emotional and social-cultural intelligence. Let me give you a very specific example. As I mentioned, one of the key goals was 100% employee onboarding, 100 employee sign-up and onboarding. In Singapore, you probably have heard of kiasu mentality. You've heard. For those who have dealt or have been negotiating with people in Singapore, you know where I'm based at. Singaporeans have the kiasu mentality, which we now know as the fear of missing out, the fear of losing, you know? And so, to address that, we had to be very patient in explaining line by line every fine print of the employee contract. We had to patiently explain, you know, those things that we don't necessarily read in the contract, every small detail in the employee contract. And mind you, they were one of the last teams to sign up because they had to make sure everything was understood, everything was addressed. Okay, so we had to understand that mentality, that mindset. In Malaysia, we had a labor union, and we had to make sure that we talked face-to-face with the head of the labor union, who represented, of course, all the concerns of the employees. And so once there was a meeting of the minds, the sign-ups poured in. In Thailand, who have dealt with Thailand here in terms of supply chain? And you probably know that Thailand is a very hierarchical structure. It's very rigid. The sole decision maker is the boss. And so, once you have the boss's buy-in, the whole team would defer and would sign up. And so we did that. We had to make sure we talked with the boss. But, of course, as I mentioned, applying emotional intelligence and social-cultural intelligence, we also had our discussions with every employee just to make sure they were addressed. But the key was the boss's sign-off.